Hi everybody, I'm Beebs Kelley. Welcome back to another fashion edition. Today we are going to take a look at some of the Golden Globes looks and fashions. Let's take a look first at this list of best dressed stars from the Golden Globes 2025. This is from Vanity Fair. We don't always agree. Now, do we? Let's see what they put on their best dressed, and be sure you're subscribed so you do not miss part 2, where we take a look at all the rest, all the other beautiful looks that were left off Vanity Fair's sometimes suspicious list. As we know, a lot of the major magazines do a little bit more of the pay-to-play type stuff, or they're like exclusively positive or way too generous with certain things. So let's just see. Let's see what happened this time. Wearing custom Gucci, we have Viola Davis. Now, this is pretty, but it's almost reading a little bit tacky with the tinsel vibe. Like, it reminds me of tinsel hanging from a Christmas tree, which I know some people absolutely loved, but I'm not 100% sure I love it. I think it looks a little bit tacky. I like the idea of it. I don't hate it, but it does read a tiny bit tacky, like tinsel. If it weren't for those colorful tinsel looking rainbowy things, I would really love this, because the cape is not overwhelming and it's sheer, so it's really quite nice and balancing, but the gown itself fits her perfectly. This wide V-neck isn't revealing too much boobage. It's not squashing. It doesn't have the challenge that strapless gowns have, where it looks like it's falling down. It just looks quite nice. I think her hairstyle, her earrings are all nice choices. Skipping the necklace is perfect. I like the fit of the dress, and the interest at the bottom of the dress is fine, but it still looks like tinsel. So what do you think about that? I don't know. I can't decide. I don't think I like it. I don't think I like it looking like tinsel at all. Next up, in Louis Vuitton and Bulgari diamonds, we have Zendaya looking magnificent. This coppery satin dress is spectacular on her. It looks amazing. I love this. But she does a great job with fashion. She and La Roche have a great relationship, her stylist, and they always come out with something amazing. I think this looks beautiful together, and the styling is perfection. Could you choose a better hair and makeup look for this dress? I think not. It's amazing. It might have been really cool with opera gloves as well. I think that would have added just a little bit more balance to the top half of this look, because the bustle sort of a situation is adding so much more volume down around the bottom that I feel like some opera gloves that came up higher would have just added even more balance to that, but then the rings might not have been as well showcased. So I'm fine with it, but that might have been a fun way to see it styled for sure. And this color is just beautiful and unique. Nicole Kidman wearing a really drapey ensemble here by Balenciaga. She's worn Balenciaga like twice on the red carpet in the last year. Shame. They still should be in timeout, in my opinion. I know a lot of people are moving on, but I don't know. I'm not 100% behind this color on her. I feel like with her current hair color, it's washing her out just a tad, this silvery color. I think it might have been nice in a little bit more of a tone, would have amped it up a bit, but I really love her hairstyle here. It's perky, it's fun, it's pretty, it's almost giving a bit of that, like, what is that, 60s or 70s vibe? I like that. I think this bracelet here with the black band maybe isn't the best choice, because the rest of her look is just really focusing in on that silver and that just light vibe, that this black band feels a little out of place, a little bit cheap almost for the dress. I don't even want to comment on the dress because it's Balenciaga and I don't feel like we need to give them the time of day, so we're moving on. I saw so many people praising this Givenchy and Swarovski look on Ariana Grande, and you guys know I love Swarovski, so I'm a fan of that, but I don't love the Givenchy dress on her, and I don't know why people went so ham for it. I'm also not loving the weird eye makeup. You see this little just line, as if she took her brow pencil and just was like, shwoop. I don't care for it. It was very distracting, and I don't like it. But I do like her hairstyle. I like the makeup other than that line. I get it's just going for a certain sort of a vibe. Like, she's really been trying to lean into those ethereal vibes, but I just don't love that makeup look. But the jewelry's magnificent. The dress itself, I feel like just looks stiff and clunky, and this hem right here under the bust line where the skirt begins looks cheap. It looks cheaply done. if it had a belt over the top, it would give a vintage sort of vibe to the dress that looks really beautiful. And it does have a vintage vibe, but it just makes it look cheap because we don't have to do things that way anymore. So why? I also think the white glove is a little out of place. It should have been off-white, picking up on one of the tones along the beaded bust line area instead. The draping I do think is beautiful. Just the white gloves feel out of place. The seam looks cheap, and I don't know what's happening with the eye makeup, okay? Moving on. In another miss, we have Emma Stone. Why is this on Best Dressed list for Vanity Fair? Couldn't tell ya. Mystery to me, because this looks not great. These types of really stiff hanging skirts that start a little bit high up on the waistline, I find to just look frumpy and create a very rectangular figure, and it's so stiff. It hangs so stiff and heavy. I just don't love the way it looks. It may be just my personal taste, but I also think it doesn't flatter her well enough. Emma Stone has a bit more of a rectangular body type. She doesn't have the most well-defined waist, so she does benefit from things that are fitted, maybe has a belt, but then has a decent amount of flare for the skirt. So that part of it's great, but it doesn't need to be this stiff where it looks like a pillow or something. Ugh. My goodness. Paired up with the fact that she skipped the necklace and it's a clean straight across neckline, and then her hair is in this pixie right now, which is cute. She looks great. It needed a necklace though. It just did. Just saying. I do appreciate the fact that it seems to fit her perfectly. It's not too long. It's not too short. It's not falling down along the bust lines. I mean, all of that fits her well, which is great. It's hard to get a strapless piece to fit perfectly. But I just don't like the silhouette that it created for her. It feels more like it would be successful in an editorial with some dramatic opera gloves and a huge hat. I would love it in that, sort of a photo shoot like that. But here on the red carpet, I don't want it. Mickey Madison in Bottega Veneta and Tiffany & Co. jewels looks pretty. I do think it would have benefited from a necklace, and this is suffering from that falling down vibe where the boobs look like they're squished. And now I get it. When you're wearing a strapless dress, sometimes you want to play into that cleavage, but when it makes it look like it's squashed, it creates an awkward sort of lumpy situation where it looks like it doesn't fit you and you're exploding out of it, and then you have lumps underneath where the rest of it's being squashed. The rest of your bust is being squashed, so it just doesn't go. I think this would have really been spruced up with a necklace and fixing the neckline, or at least one or the other. Something needs to give here. I'm also not 100% behind this sort of silver tone to the jewelry while she's got this gold, almost like fish scale style dress. I feel like maybe a color, something bright that really popped, would have been more complimentary, perhaps, to the dress. Cynthia Erivo wore Louis Vuitton and experienced a similar squashy boob situation. It looks like it's far too tight on the bust. It looks like it's cutting into her breast tissue here. First off, that just doesn't look comfortable, but it also creates a focal point that's seemingly out of place and uncomfortable. Smooshing the boobs is never going to look the same as like creating cleavage. It's going to make it look like it's being squashed in a not on purpose sort of a way. As far as the dress itself, I quite like the pattern. I love the skirt, the tiered elements to it. The fit of it looks to be impeccable. Her waist looks nicely well defined and great here. The structured element to the hip area here, this sort of rectangular panel, I feel like I would have liked it better personally as just a peplum or just a regular skirt situation. But I think this is okay. You know, it's a structural, beautiful piece, a beautifully well done dress. It's just maybe not the most practical take. I think for wearability, I would have really loved to see this transformed into just a regular peplum. But it's gorgeous dress, a gorgeous piece, no matter what. Sticking in the monochrome black and white sort of a look, we have Coleman Domingo wearing Valentino, and I think this is a quite nice ensemble. Looks to fit him really well. Playing with these patterns and textures the way that he is in this outfit is successful because it's stuck in the black and white tones. Nothing's clashing. There's no opportunity for it to become too busy when you stick in those monochrome tones. So you can get away with a lot more pattern and texture mixing when you stick to a really tight color palette the way he did. It works nicely. Angelina Jolie is wearing McQueen, and it is beautiful, stunning, great choice for her in terms of her body type, where she has a shorter torso and longer, lankier limbs. These sorts of dresses that do not create a focal point of the waist or the torso in general allow her to blend those elements to her figure and look really beautiful here. I think that the deconstructed hemlines of it might not be everyone's taste, but I think she pulled it off. Naomi Watts is wearing custom Schiaparelli, and I personally just don't love the way this looks. This layered fabric on here is an amazing feat of construction for this dress, and overall it looks very beautiful. It's well fitted to her. I love her hair and makeup for this beautiful start to the dress. The bodice and everything is so snug. It fits her beautifully, perfect. It doesn't look like it's falling down on the bust line. See, it's possible. But I just personally don't love the way the fabric on this fanned part looks. I just don't love that styling element. But that's okay. I think it's a beautiful construction and a nice dress. It's just not I don't gravitate towards it. That's all. Dakota Fanning is wearing Dolce & Gabbana, and I love this for her. And look, what a beautiful bright color. Oftentimes she and her sister gravitate towards those really pale pastels and whatnot, or like metal tones. And I think it's just lovely to see her step out of that, comfort zone perhaps into something bold, and red like this is just gorgeous. Now, the scarf I know is driving a lot of people crazy online because it looks really askew, but the asymmetry is really valuable for her and her body type. As you can see, the draping across the waistline is all in diagonal elements and creating those sorts of crisscrosses, that movement. It helps to prevent the eye from resting there on her torso where she sort of lacks that well-defined waist. She has a little bit more rectangular of a figure, so it's a great trick to draw the eye away. And then that's just carried through and elongated through that scarf element. It doesn't look like it's choking her either because it's draped off over this shoulder and you can see that. So it doesn't look like it's strangling her the way it would if it just draped down behind her. But I think the skirt on this is fabulous. Look at this luscious fabric, just so delightful to wear. So beautiful. I do, however, think that an updo or like a ponytail or a half up even would have brought a more youthful vibe to this and been a little bit more playful. That might have pepped up the look a little bit, brought a little more energy and freshness to it, brought it forward a little bit more. So I would have loved to see a different hairstyle for it, but the dress itself is gorgeous. Selena Gomez, one of the best dressed of the evening. I do agree with this. Wearing Prada and Tiffany & Co. jewels. This is stunning and fabulous for Selena Gomez. As she has said, she fluctuates a lot. Her body fluctuates a lot due to her medical conditions and things of that nature. So choosing something that is streamlined and monochrome and relatively simple is going to be a great choice for anybody who tends to have frequent fluctuations, because it will allow that flexibility there and prevent any area from becoming too much of a focal point. For example, things that are lower cut, you run the risk of looking like you're exploding out of it or like you're not filling it out. Or things that have any sort of focal point around the waistline for whatever reason via a belt or other elements can make it look too tight or too loose, or just draw attention to the belly area when you don't want it there, for example. So this was a great option because it just created this gorgeous elongated, you see these lengthening seams down the front, drawing the eye up to this gorgeous, beautiful shoulder line where the focal point really becomes this beautiful neckline here. It's just stunning. It looks so beautiful on her, a gorgeous color, perfect choice of styling. Her hair, her makeup, her jewelry all flow together and serve the vibe of the dress well. So this was a very cohesive look, very, very beautiful. There's nothing about it that needs to be changed. Because she does have a softer body type, she does have a bust line, for example, then the more linear and more structured sorts of construction to this dress help balance it. While on the other hand, somebody who has a more rectangular or angular body type who lacks a little bit of curve, maybe they don't have much of a bust line or don't have very curvaceous hips, for example, would do well to incorporate more softness and diagonal lines and curves in their clothing. So this is a perfect example of the other side of that here with Selena. She looks magnificent. So beautiful, beautiful dress. Glenn Powell is wearing Giorgio Armani, and I think it's okay. I feel like this cummerbund is making his belly look like he has a pooch where he doesn't. I don't think that quite worked, at least not with the texture of the shirt. Not a full success here from him. Zoe Saldana, one of my favorites of the evening and one of my favorite actresses. This looks beautiful. I love how this necklace echoes the neckline of the dress. Spectacular. Perfection. Her hairstyle and makeup choice for this is great, though she does look ever so slightly washed out. I wish maybe she had just a slight more wash of color somewhere in her face, like either a brighter lip or a little bit more blush, a little something more to the eyes to warm it up just a tad, because she looks ever so slightly washed out. This is by Saint Laurent, and it's gorgeous. Home run. I like the idea and the construction of the opera coat here, though I'm not 100% sure that its texture, its fabric choice, and its tone, being slightly brown, it looks like, are the perfect match for this dress, but I give it a pass because everything else is so perfect. Adrian Brody is wearing Tom Brown's suit. Very nice. He looks quite dapper. It fits him perfectly. I'm not 100% behind the pin, but I would love to see more lapel pins on men. Demi Moore in Gucci looks beautiful. This is a great choice. So far, I'm agreeing with a lot more of their best dressed list than I expected, so that's great news. I love the structure of this dress. It's absolutely beautiful. The fabric, as you can see, is not puckering up on these seams. That is impeccable construction right there. Perfect tailoring. It fits her beautifully. And once again, we have a strapless dress that manages to not look like it's falling down. Magnificent. See? Everybody, we don't need to chop our boobs in half and look like we're falling out of our dress. We don't. This is beautiful. I love how the paneling across the chest here keeps the focal point right here. It enables her to skip the need for a necklace altogether. It's just spectacular. It's beautiful, and it's well balanced with that skirt as well. Daniel Craig wearing Giorgio Armani also looks fabulous. This is a nice take on a slightly more relaxed fit of a suit. Very, very nice. Margaret Qualley is wearing Chanel. They've been going for these really tiered skirt looks lately. Lots and lots of tiers. I think this is one of the better that I've seen them do. I like the square neckline. I like the softness that the tiered overskirt create. However, for her particular body type, being more rectangular in nature, a V-neck or sweetheart neckline would have been more flattering to her. I think she got her styling perfect though, leaning into that almost 60s or 70s vibe with the hairstyle was a good choice. Timothée Chalamet's outfit is not my favorite. I don't love this. The scarf and the sparkly suit jacket, I feel like are competing with each other just to tap. I wish he would have gone for a matte jacket if he wanted to do the scarf situation, or worn the scarf in a different manner where it just came down rather than come out and over his shoulder, or gone for the sparkly blazer suit jacket and done some sort of different situation, skipped the scarf. I feel like it doesn't really work well enough together. I'm not loving that one. I'm also not a huge fan of Kerry Washington's Balenciaga dress here. Again, Balenciaga, definitely a bad idea. But this just looks messy. It looks like it's overwhelming her beautiful figure. She has a well-defined waist naturally, and it's completely erased by this messy, messy, messy dress. It just looks like a tacky mess. Like a first-year fashion student could make this better than this. This looks bad. She should have worn her hair up in a bun if she was going to do something with this much weight across her chest as well. I do like the black velvet gloves. Hate the dress. Cara Delevingne went for this simple Gucci column dress that's very, very beautiful, sequined everywhere, though the edges, because they are embellished, almost look a little bit messy and poorly finished because of the embellishments there. And then it's reflecting blue onto her face, which just is looking a little odd in pictures. So it's not the best in photographs, but in person, I bet this looked like a slinky dream. Just absolutely beautiful. Kate Blanchett and Louis Vuitton. I feel like I've seen her in this dress before. It's very shoulder heavy, maybe a little too shoulder heavy, because you have the embellishments around the shoulders, and clearly, obviously, there's shoulder pads, and then it's draped. And I do quite like the way that it's draped, and if anybody can pull it off, it's her, but it does become just a little bit top heavy here. The skirt, however, is laying so perfectly on her. She clearly wore a nice smoothing layer underneath this because her execution of this dress is perfection. It's so beautiful. There's nothing wrong with re-wearing things, but this particular one is just not my absolute favorite dress of hers. But I mean, the more I see it, the more I like the way the fabric drapes across the top. I bet it's really comfortable, and it does allow the perfect skirt to shine. So, really, I guess my biggest beef is with the shoulder pads and the embellishments on the shoulder, which almost disrupt the gorgeous fabric. In custom Giorgio Armani Privé, Gal Gadot was wearing this simple black ensemble with a giant pearl in the middle. I don't love the giant pearl. I just don't love it. The fit of this is impeccable, though. The fact that it's not riding up or falling down in any sorts of a weird way is a miracle. You know how darker colors slim and lighter colors don't? That's something that always comes up with dresses like these that do a completely cut out bare portion of the waistline. It actually tends to make the waistline area look wider, which is totally unfair. Gal Gadot has one of the best figures in Hollywood, like she just does. So it's not fair to her that this outfit isn't serving her the way it should. It's not flattering her the way she deserves, because it's just that illusion of the black portions looking slimmer than the waist by proxy in this situation looks wider than it is in real life. And this pearl, just no. So I don't love it, but I wish I did because she looks great. Adam Brody in a gorgeous green Prada suit. I love it. I love that men are going for more colorful tuxedos. This is fabulous. I like it and it fits him great. Elle Fanning wearing Balmain ball gown. I love everything except for the cheetah print cups. I think this would have been absolutely stunning and spectacular without cheetah print. I don't understand what's happening here. I feel like it brings down this dress so much because look at how luscious this skirt is. Look at how beautiful this dress is. The belt is perfect. The draping is perfect. These diagonal lines are enhancing the appearance of a well-defined waist. It doesn't look like it's falling down either on the bust line. But why put tacky cheetah print on it? Let's not do that. Let's not ruin things. Felicity Jones is wearing a beautiful Prada dress, very shiny silver, but I'm not loving the black hole vibe. It's kind of not the best to look at. The whole thing looks a little bit messy, a little too crafty, and these black holes catch the eye so much that you can't really appreciate how beautiful she looks and how well it fits her. I also appreciate that it doesn't look like it's falling down anywhere because it's a halter style. Her boob's not exploding out the side of it. So many elements of this are great, but those embellishments on the dress have got to go. Definitely not best dress territory. Janelle James is wearing a dark, maybe black velvet strapless gown. Now here, this does look like it's falling down a little bit. It's combated somewhat by the tips sticking up on the outer corner, preventing it looking like it's flopping out over the sides, but it does look a little bit low. I do like the opera gloves that she went for, but I do wish there was maybe a little bit of a necklace. I know the simplicity of skipping the necklace on these can be really beneficial to the overall impact of the style. But at the same time, because it looks like it's falling down, this particular scenario, it makes it look like there's a lot of space here, a lot of real estate. Break it up. Wear a little bit of a necklace. Tilda Swinton in Chanel. Fabulous. This fits her perfectly. It looks absolutely magnificent. I love the embellishments. I love the sparkle to it. The texture. The skirt doesn't look out of place with this top either because everything is so well balanced visually. Perfect option. In another great success, we have Anna Sawai and Dior. I love this. The clean, simple, perfect construction of Dior is always something I appreciate, and this is no different. This looks beautiful. It's a modern take on a peplum, complemented by her hair, makeup, and jewelry options here. It looks beautiful. Great choice. Leighton Meester in a chartreuse sort of Versace dress. This is pretty, but I feel like it's not doing her figure many favors here because the V-neck is wider and drapey, and then the dress itself is just sort of slinky and drapey. It's leaving her waistline looking less well-defined and her looking overall a little bit wider and more rectangular than she deserves. I think something that carried through a bit of that draping and diagonal lines through the dress or had a little bit more volume to the skirt would have helped balance the whole thing out. I appreciate that she has her hair up though, and her makeup looks great for this. Her jewelry was a good choice. Having her hair up allows this area to shine and not look too cluttered and closed in with that draping and extra fabric there. So that was a good choice. Wearing Ashy Studio, Mindy Kaling is in a gold strapless dress where it doesn't look quite as well fitting as it should. Did she get plastic surgery? What's happening? Maybe it's the makeup. Anywho, usually the strapless gowns that just come across straight like this are great fits. They don't look like they're falling down. They don't struggle with the same sorts of issues around the bust line as lower cut or sweetheart style strapless gowns do. However, here you can see a little bit of spillage over by the armpits, so I think maybe it still didn't fit her quite right. But the color looks beautiful on her and the overall silhouette is a nice choice. Io Adebri is, you guessed it, wearing Loewe. That's one of her favorite designers to wear. Now, this gray suit, I don't mind, but I don't love the tie that looks like it's stuck between her legs. Maybe a slightly shorter tie would have been nice. The draping of the trousers, though, is a nice take on a wide leg pant, and it looks like the top and the blazer fit her enough. I would have loved to see her hair up, or at least half up, with the heaviness of the blazer and the shoulder pads, the structure that they bring. It would have been nice to have something a little bit lifted up out of there, add a little bit more just space and room and balance to the whole thing. So overall, from this list, I was quite impressed with Tilda Swinton. I surprisingly warmed to Cate Blanchett's. I really liked Demi Moore's dress, Zoe Saldana, and Selena Gomez's dresses. Those were gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous dresses. And complete looks as well. The whole thing came together really nicely, looked really beautiful head to toe. Oh, and Zendaya. Hers was a full look. Very beautiful, brought that vintage sort of vibe, really gorgeous. In fail territory, we had elements of Ariana Grande's and Emma Stone's just didn't work. Naomi Watts, but that's more of a personal thing. I just don't like that, the way that looks at the bottom of her skirt. Timothée Chalamet, not loving his look at all. Oh, worst dressed, Kerry Washington in Balenciaga. Absolute worst dressed of the night, which is sad. Usually she looks spectacular. And Felicity Jones's Prada dress. I just don't love the way that's coming across. I would have put Anna Sawai's Dior dress higher up on the list, but it does look ever so slightly ill-fitting right here. Like maybe she wore the wrong bra for fittings and a different bra here. Like it just didn't quite fit perfectly. Otherwise, I would have put that up higher on the list, closer to best dressed, but not quite. But what was your favorite and least favorite from today's video? And be sure you subscribe so you do not miss Golden Globes Part 2, covering all the celebrities that we didn't have time to cover in today's video. Thank you again. I hope you have a happy day ahead, and I will see you next time. Bye!